Does the UPA have much to celebrate? On the Newshour tonight, PC Chako, very senior member of parliament, top Congress leader. Sitaram Yechuri, Politburo member and member of parliament of the CPM. Deputy leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. Ravi Shankar Prasad. Mr. Prasad, will you be joining the celebrations of the UPA? Do you think they have reason to celebrate?
The only achievement, or not to their credit, is that they have been able to survive in power. That's all. 9 years down the line, are the people happy? They are angry. Is the image of India good? Seriously dented as the most corrupt central government since independence. Indians are not investing in India. Infrastructure has come to a standstill. India's growth story under serious doubt. And with 5.9% inflation, fiscal deficit, it is almost more than what happened in 1991. This long-term damage to India's growth story by the UPA's record of malgovernance, it will take a long time to redeem. Yes, they have been celebrating as they always will, but surely people would like this government to change at the earliest whenever elections are held.
Well, you have been very critical on the economy in your opening observations. Now, let me tell you, Mr. Prasad, I have with me 100 pages here, a huge 100-page report, which some people in the Congress have been graceful enough to share an advanced copy of with Times Now. Now, I look at parts of this report. On the economy, they completely go against the grain of what you're saying. On the price situation, they congratulate themselves. They talk about measures to control inflation, keeping the price issue for wheat and rice unchanged in 2002, absorbing a significant part of the cost of diesel, kerosene and LPG. Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, they are congratulating themselves on price situation. They are congratulating themselves.
Can I come in here?
They are congratulating themselves on economic growth. Okay, Mr. Prasad wants to come back. Mr. Yechuri, yes.
No, very simple reply.
Irony.
Don't go by what they publish in their glossy document of achievement. Go on to the footpath of Delhi as to see how much a thali costs. Go to a middle-class house in Delhi or Bombay where you stay and see how difficult it is for the housewife, even of a middle-class family, to survive. This whole price index, retail price index, all these things are going for the last so many years.
Okay.
Malgovernance, price rise, industrial production is down,
to the left.
Import is down, all is too well known.
To the left, Sitaram Yechuri, yes.
Yeah, you see, there is an old saying which says that do what I say and not what I do. So what the government says in its glossy publications is entirely different from the government has been doing. The fact of the matter is that during the last 4 years, the burdens on the people have grown. The Prime Minister is on record to state that the economy has slowed down, and the fact that they need to take certain harsh decisions, which means put more burdens on the people. So there's no two opinions on the fact that there has been a deterioration in the economic situation and the burdens on the people have been growing, have been actually multiplying and exponentially growing. Your crisis in agriculture continues. The drought this year may be a one-year affair, they may say, but the fact is that the farmers are continuing to commit suicide. Unemployment is on the rise, as well as inflation. And what you require today is exactly the opposite of what this government is doing. You're opening up of our country more and more to the inflow of foreign capital, giving concessions to your international and domestic capital, which is higher than your fiscal deficit.
So
and this needs to be noted.
So
the tax, 1 minute, Mr. Goswami. The tax foregone this year, this year is 5,73,000 crores. Fiscal deficit is 5,21,000 crores. There is no fiscal deficit if you have not given these concessions to the rich. And that is how you're burdening the poor in the country. That is the reality.
No, the reality is, okay, now the reality what they're presenting. It's time for Mr. Chako to respond. In this paper, the Congress party says growth is expected to recover in 2012, 2013, 2014 with the reform process being actively pursued. It says since last May, the government has taken 42 major reform measures in the sphere of finance, banking, industry, infrastructure and taxation. Exactly what Mr. Yechuri criticizes. My question to you, sir, is do you find it strange, Mr. Chako, that both the esteemed leaders of the opposition on the Newshour tonight have questioned you first on the economy? It's on the economy that you're the weakest. Is it not strange that an economist prime minister has led the UPA to a situation where the economy is the first line of attack of the opposition?
Arnav, I am very happy that you put this question. I congratulate Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad and Mr. Yechuri for highlighting the negative aspect. If that is satisfying to them, we have no complaint. But Arnav, what we are reviewing now is from 2008-9 till 2011-12. What is the rate of growth of the Indian economy? It grew from 6.7% to 8.6% to 9.3%, and then it came down a bit to 6.2%. This year it is little lower than that. This we achieved in spite of the world global situation, which is very, very adverse. And can anybody deny this situation? From 2008 till today, barring this year, which is a direct reaction of the global recession, what was the growth of Indian economy? And I can understand they highlighting negative points, but can they deny this? Can Mr. Yechuri or Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad deny this? Please be honest enough. Please be honest enough to admit
one
this
at a time. One at a time.
I'll tell you, Mr. Chako. Mr. Chako, I'll tell you, and let us all be honest. Let us all be that this has happened because in spite of the global recession, India was not devastated precisely because the left had not allowed the UPA 1 government, and that continued for the first 2 years of the UPA 2 government to go through your financial liberalization measures. What Mr. Goswami just read out that all these economic reforms that you are taking and that be honest, Mr. Chako, be honest that because of that you have not been devastated. Now you are doing exactly the same thing, and which is going to lead to a further devastation.
Counter question to you. Take my counter question. Sitaram Yechuri, take my counter question. I see the rate figures. 2005, 2006, 9.5%. 2006, 2007, 9.6%. 2007, 2008, 9.3%. You go out of the government, 6.7%. Are we to say today that the growth figures were because the left was supporting the government or because of global factors? Why are you not accepting? There's a global factors. Are you the magic wand?
No, I'm accepting.
Is Sitaram Yechuri the Midas touch?
Please understand. Yeah, but can I tell you why? Can I tell you why? Since you asked me the question, just bear with me. The moment the left was jettisoned out of the UPA by their wanting to go with the nuclear deal, etc., that's a different question. The moment the left was not there in UPA 1, UPA 1 went into those financial reforms, which is why the growth rate fell.
No. What Mr. Chako has done.
The Midas touch.
What Mr. Chako has done. What Mr. Chako has very cleverly done.
You ask me a question, you get the answer. You get the answer. No, let me get the answer.
Sitaramji.
Hello, please. Mr. Chako, if you ask me a question, get an answer. Let me answer. Let me answer that question. The devastation because of global recession would have been much worse. Much worse, because if you had gone ahead with these financial liberalization measures, which we prevented you, that's a fact. And the Prime Minister in the Parliament, in the House, also had to smile when I said, sir, give the devil its due. Even if you want to call us the devil, you give us our due. That because of that, you were not devastated.
I want to find out. I want to seal this debate. I want to seal this debate. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, what Mr. Chako has done very cleverly at the start of the debate is this. He has pummeled your and Sitaram Yechuri's argument by saying that that while you may want to attack the government for poor economic policies, the fact of the matter is that the UPA has performed better than the 6 years of the NDA as far as the GDP is concerned. You must concede that to him.
First of not the least, Mr. Chako is wrong as always. He is on
How?
facts. I'm sorry to make that comment. You very rightly said, Arnav, under an economist prime minister, India's economy is in a mess. Dr. Manmohan Singh was never a very big mass leader. He was told an economist and an honest prime minister. We'll talk honesty separately. Today, our GDP is 5%, may even go down. He says international factors. How is it and why is it that in the same atmosphere of pessimism, most of the NDA state governments are notching up 10% plus growth rate from Gujarat to Bihar to Chhattisgarh to Madhya Pradesh? Why is it that national agriculture growth rate is 3% and in Madhya Pradesh is 18%? The difference, Arnav, is the most crucial point: good governance. Good governance is absent in
So
central
you have no
government.
answer to what he said.
Another key issue of economy.
You're not answering. You're not answering, Mr. Chako.
Let Mr. Chako reply.
Mr. Chako wants to rebut
No,
you.
only one thing.
Arnav,
Let him
he wants to
reply
respond
both
to
the
you.
issues.
Please.
Let him reply both the issues.
Ravi Shankar Prasad
No, just
ji,
the second also he should
Ravi Shankar
respond.
Prasad ji, please.
Infrastructure.
Ravi
is an
Shankar
issue
Prasad ji,
which is
please
not in
listen
debate.
for a minute.
Ravi Shankar Prasad,
Now, coal
Mr.
sector,
Prasad,
power
Ravi Shankar
sector,
Prasad ji.
Mr. Prasad, I seek your indulgence.
Telecom sector, real estate.
I-
All are basic
If
areas
you want
of
a
growth.
discussion, please
Was
wait for the
doing so well
answer.
under
Mr.
Indian
Prasad,
regime.
if
They
If
have
you
made
want
a mess of it also
a
because of
debate or a
corruption,
discussion, why
because
don't you
of lack
just
of good
listen?
governance.
Mr. Prasad, please let
Very
Mr. Chako
sorry.
come in. He has a right to come in here. It's two opposition leaders versus one from the government.
I was only completing my query. Arnav. What
Yes,
is
sir.
this? I
No,
was
that's
going to give
all
him a space. He must
Arnav,
reply to the
please
second part
understand
also,
one thing.
What I said just
Arnav,
now.
I agree.
please.
Mr. Chako is now responding to you. Yes, Mr. Chako.
Arnav, please understand one thing. Ravi Shankar Prasad or Sitaramji has not refuted what I have said. Their political jargons, we can use each other. But please answer the figures. 6.7 to 8.6 to 9.3. This is the figure of rate of growth in 2008 to 2010. And today, even at 5.3, India is
Chako.
one of the fastest growing large economies of the world.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chako.
And,
if I can answer,
Mr. Chako.
that
if I can
comparison is
answer-
before the people.
Mr. Chako.
Can I answer? Arnav?
No. Mr. What Mr. Chako is doing. Mr. Chako, no, I just, we don't want to stuck on one figure. We don't want to be stuck on one figure. Mr. Chako,
Please understand.
Mr. Chako, you're choosing some numbers. So on Newshour tonight, I would like to throw a little challenge to you, Mr. Chako. Please understand, Mr. Chako.
Yes, Arnav.
No, 1 minute, Mr. Chako, allow me to come in.
please
Allow me to come in, Mr. Chako. My question to you is why remain
Yes,
stuck
yes.
at the GDP figure? Let's look at, for example, some other figure, which may be more uncomfortable for you. Mr. Chako, I invite your attention to the drop in employment generation. While the UPA government has always claimed, including in your manifestos, your commitment towards the youth vis-a-vis employment generation, would you agree that this has turned out to be one of the worst failures of UPA 2 to the youth of this country? Employment generation has dropped from 216 crore person days in 2011-12 to 283.59 person days in 2009-2010. In other words, that is an increase of almost 30% in employment figures between one financial year, Mr. Chako. I'm only pointing out 1 year. Have you failed there? Why aren't you talking about that?
I don't know. 5 crores of families are provided employment in Noriga alone. Please understand that, figures may be conflicting in certain cases.
No.
But 5 lakh families are provided employment under Noriga. 1.28 lakh crores of rupees are distributed in the form of wages.
But is it
from
working?
2009 to 2011.
Is it working?
Are you not aware that the
I am
people
aware.
today, if their purchasing power is there, that is because there is cash in the hands of the people because of the successful programs of the
Not
government.
just that, Mr.
And if
Narek,
anybody want to deny that,
I
facts
contest
are
that.
otherwise.
I contest. Mr. Chako, the figures
Yeah,
I put out
can I-
government
can I come in?
records. I put out government
Can I come?
records. As per government records, the latest data put out by the Ministry of Rural Development, reveals a picture of declining employment generation under Narega. Even more startling, Mr. Chako, is the fact that jobs created for the most marginalized sections of the Indian community, Dalits and Adivasis, have suffered the biggest decline. I'm just placing this on record because you're questioning the data I'm putting out. Sitaram Yechury, on employment.
Yes, there is. I've mentioned that earlier. There is a very sharp decline in
I would also like to say on employment.
Sure.
And if there's a decline in if there's a decline in your GDP growth rate, it's a natural that the employment is declining. There's no amount of gimmickry that you can do to the facts. Remember an old saying: they are lies, they are damned lies, and they are statistics. And don't try to use a statistical buffer in order to tell us what is the real conditions of life of the people, which we can see every day. And Mr. Chako, I'm sorry, you are sounding exactly like what Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad sounded in 2000 and before 2004 elections, when the NDA preponed the elections, saying that India is shining. And all of us know what happened. So when I say that there were programs that were started in the UPA 1 under the pressure from the left, it is not as though we are doing a tutu maima here. You please introspect. You took 4 years to consider the left's demand to start the Rega. The Rega is what brought you back in 2009.
Sir, you're also part of the
instead
problem.
of doing such policies...
You're not owning up to your responsibility.
Of course.
9 years of UPA have been 4 years of the left.
Of course, that is laid the basis for the growth that Mr. Chako is talking of. And please understand one factor. Let me complete. It is that UPA is not what is today's UPA, Mr. Chako. Today's UPA is a minority government that is manufacturing majority. It is manufacturing majority by the day. That is
okay, quick one. Mr. Chako responds. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad comes in. Mr. Chako,
please listen. No, please.
Sitaramji, please understand.
Mr. Chako's response.
Sitaramji, you please remember what was the reason you left UPA? You just recollect. Sitaramji, that was not accepted by the people of this country. And Communist Party's policy and economic policy was always wrong, Sitaramji. You are slowly starting realizing that.
So you say,
how the world is developing today, what is happening in other countries.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chako. Mr. Chako,
Sitaramji, even China is accepting capital economy.
Let us not lecture. No, it is not. You don't understand, so let's not lecture each other. Let's not lecture each other. What the point is, if you're going by the realities of this country, if you're going by the realities of this country, you're going by the reality.
Okay, no, it's a counter question.
I'm saying this is...
Mr. Chako's counter question and then Ravi Shankar. No. Counter question. Ask the counter question, Mr. Chako.
No. Let me...
Counter question.
No, he asked me that question. No.
Yes, counter question from Mr. Chako.
Sitaramji, please understand, we are celebrating the 9th...
No, let me ask you a counter question, Mr. Chako.
Why are you not allowing me?
I've been asked to ask me a counter question.
Please give me 1 minute.
Okay, let Mr. Chako ask first.
Please give me 1 minute.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Gentlemen, since you're both deciding to play the role of anchor on the program, asking each other questions, I can move out of the studio, but I allow at this point of time, retaining my right as an anchor, to Mr. Chako to ask the counter question. To Mr. Chako to ask the counter question, then I Ravi Shankar Prasad. Yes. What's your question?
Arunav, in 91, when this country was in a debt trap, it was the reform policy of the government of India, led by the Congress party, which saved this country from a disastrous economic situation. From there on, it is a known fact, the whole world give the credit to the Congress government that we could take the economy out of a crisis situation, and today India is one of the fastest growing economies. By simply making the political jargons, can they defeat this argument? Comparative economy is China.
What is political jargon here?
China's growth is also affected.
I want to ask one question. This is
Sitaramji, listen to me, Mr. Chako. Economic policy pursued by China.
No.
Sitaramji, will you accept the economic policy pursued by communist China?
The question is, no, 1 minute. One question
Yes,
is,
but that is not the
question
policy
Mr.
that you
Chacko
are
talks,
pursuing.
Mr. Chacko talks.
And please,
Mr.
hey, listen, Mr. Goswami. One moment. No, you are falling into the trap of the figures of your growth rates, etc. And Mr. Chacko is going on talking of political jargon. If the Prime Minister says the levels of malnutrition of our children is a national shame, is it a political jargon? If the Prime Minister talks about India being one of the most unsafe places for women to live, is it political jargon?
I have a question. No, I have a question.
I have a question to
all three of you. I have a question to all three of you. Let me come in, please. My question is, PC Chacko says today, Ravi Shankar Prasad, PC Chacko says, remember what we did in reforms, we resurrected the economy. Now, you have a ballooning subsidy burden on this government. The subsidy burden of this government up from 45,000 crores to almost 200,000 crores is a result of the UPA doling out SOPs instead of fixing the economy. But where do you stand, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, on the doling out of SOPs? You haven't taken a position on it either, because taking a position is politically disadvantageous for you.
First of all, Arnav, please, you don't do a batting for Mr. Chacko. The accountability is of Mr. Chacko today, and let me ask certain questions. I will come to the ballooning part of the subsidy. You said why the economy is today 5.2 and in all likelihood bound to go down, and why the state governments of the NDA in the same scenario are having a growth rate of 10% plus repeatedly.
Absolutely
the point is
wrong.
Absence
Absolutely
of good
wrong.
governance, corruption. Mr. Chacko, please wait for your turn. I didn't disturb you.
Your figures are wrong, Mr. Prasad. Your figures are wrong.
Series of scam, corruption after corruption. Now, Arnav, one thing I said earlier, and let me repeat it. Infrastructure reform and growth is beyond political dispute. We need to have good roads. We need to have power. Thermal power is 68%. We need to have a good telecom sector. We need to have a real estate sector for growth, both for small investors and even small people or middle class people. All the four engines of growth, real estate, telecom, national highway and power, is in a mess on which there is no dispute. Why it is happening? There is corruption, there is mismanagement, there is extraneous consideration. Therefore, all these, and you rightly pointed out, unemployment. One of the biggest, I would say, guesswork they are doing in this Manrega project. I'm so happy you said about the Rural Development Department itself coming out with a declining figure. Today, India's unemployment scenario is very, very bleak. And lastly, Arnav, on the economic part, let me tell you, why is it that even Indians are not investing in India? Yesterday, I learnt a figure. Indian investors have withdrawn more than $20 billion from the various equity funds in the last about 1.5 years. Because they know our money is not safe.
May I come in,
Therefore,
Mr.
Indian rupees decline.
Mr. Chacko, you can come in, but I have
talking about agriculture and suicide and malnutrition.
Yes.
It's all a case of a gross mismanagement of Indian economy by the economist Prime Minister.
So what emerges, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, what emerges therefore, and my question to Mr. Chacko very broadly, let's not go very micro. Mr. Chacko, the real story which you'll have to answer tomorrow is this. It's nice to do a marketing campaign, you know. It's nice to put out glossy advertisements, full page ads. But you're being selective, Mr. Chacko.
We have...
One minute, allow me to complete. Have you talked of scams? No. Have you talked of 2G, CWG, Colgate, Railgate, Devas, ISRO, the murky details of the schemes? No. Have you, by the way, your UPA report card includes Manrega, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, credit to farmers, flagship schemes of Bharat Nirman. Also talks about bringing in RTI. Mr. Chacko, these are all achievements of UPA 1, which you are trying to gloss over as work done in UPA 2. You see, and when you speak of Manrega, one minute, also one more point. When you speak of Manrega, why don't you talk about the CAG criticism of Manrega? The mistakes that Manrega made. You know, the money that was lost by Manrega. No, 1 second. You're also not talking about employment generation, drop in employment generation. So, Mr. Chacko, please, just the broad question I have for you and the whole country has for you is this. Are you being completely honest? Are you being completely honest and objective in your assessment of how well UPA has done?
Shall I come in?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Arnav, here is the right moment. Let me make my point very clear. Please allow me 1 minute. And what Ravi Shankar Prasad said, what Sridharamji said, I am not completely denying. There is malnutrition. There is problem in the agriculture. There is employment problem in the employment sector. I am not denying that. If anybody can eradicate all these things in a year, in 5 years,
9 years.
I welcome that.
9 years.
That is not the point. Here the question is that please understand certain figures reflect the state of economy. I said about the growth rate. Then you were asking were some other figures. Today, what is the per capita income of India? I don't know. It has grown by 11.7%. India's per capita income in the last 1 year. Today it is 5,729 rupees, the per capita of India, which was 5,130, a growth of 11.7%. Can anybody deny this?
Sir,
Noriga is being
Can I come in
implemented.
here?
Please,
Can I
Aruna,
come
1
in
minute. You put me a question. Let me answer.
No, I
There
said, are you
is
being
a very
selective
big
in your
scheme.
numbers? Are you
Please
being selective with your
understand one thing.
numbers?
No, please. I am only saying the per capita. Can anybody
Yeah,
deny
per capita. I have a counter question for you on per capita. Allow me. I have some figures on per capita.
No,
Mr.
please.
Chaco, Mr. Chaco,
Arnav,
1 minute.
this
Mr.
is not
Chaco,
fair,
I
Arnav.
agree.
Let me come.
You
You put a
agree.
question on the
On
employment
per
front.
capita, Mr.
Let
Chaco.
me answer that.
Mr. Chaco,
Let me answer the question on the employment front.
Can I?
Counter on per capita. Counter on per capita.
Arnav, why don't you allow me to complete?
No.
Arnav, we are celebrating the 9th year of the UPA.
Can I ask a counter question?
Arnav,
Okay, let him complete.
please,
Counter question after
please
that.
allow
Yes.
me to complete.
Let him complete.
Yeah, Arnavji, Sridharamji, we were listening to you. Why don't you allow me to complete?
Let him complete.
At least, see, you put a question. You put
No,
a question on the labor
it depends
front.
on how long you
Employment
talk, sir.
generation. No. Just 1 minute. Employment generation front, Sridharamji,
Okay.
no government in India, state or center, has ever experimented or succeeded in a program like Noriga. But even being implemented by the state governments. Central government is ready to give money, ready to give the guidance,
No.
ready to give the program.
Sir, the
Whichever
thing
state
is-
government has implemented it effectively, we could become successful.
Sir,
Today, an average of 5 crore
Sir, the thing
families
is,
are
sir,
being
you are-
given employment.
Sir, you are all-
This fact nobody can deny.
No, sir, how
the
many-
fact remains that, in this country of 120 crores of people,
Can I-
unemployment is still there. But have we not succeeded in providing employment to 5 crore families?
Yes, sir,
every
but
year?
it's jobless growth.
Why are you not recognizing that?
No, sir,
Can
1
I-
minute. Sir, 1 minute.
Can I- can
Sir,
I-
the fact is this.
Can I come in?
No, I just want to say one very small thing to Mr. Chaco. Mr. Chaco, there is something called jobless growth. Between 1999 and 2004, economy was growing at 5%, but 58 million jobs were created. Next 5 years, it grew at 9%. 1 million job was created. So growth is good, but this is jobless growth, Mr. Chaco, and these facts are also facts which your government accepts.
That is
Counter
what-
question from
can I-
Sitaram
can
Yechuri.
I-
5
can I-
minutes on the debate. Sitaram Yechuri.
No. So
Sitaram
that you
Yechury's
cannot
counter
ignore
question.
growth rate completely.
Time for a counter. Time for a counter.
Please, Chaco.
Take the
Please,
counter.
Mr. Chaco,
No.
please, Mr.
This
Chaco.
is
You
not
now
an
you
answer.
bear
Take
with
the
me.
counter.
Now you bear with me. No, now you bear.
It is-
Now you
are
bear with me,
twisting-
Mr. Chaco, for a
you are twisting
minute.
the facts.
And my minute,
Yeah, yes.
my minute will not be a stretchable minute like yours. So I'm only saying
I have seen that.
universally
I have
it
seen
is
that when you
accepted that growth rates and per capita income rates, these are not the true indicators of human development indices. It is universally accepted today. All these years, India's human development indices ranking has been sliding down, and that has been reported year by year by the international organizations, and that has been recognized by the government of India. And the fact that growth rates and per capita incomes are not the real health of the country, with actually Sri Lanka and Bangladesh posting better human development indices results than India is doing, and we are declining. And that is a fact. How do you explain with all these bombastic claims that our human development indicators
Now-
are human development indices
My last
and the
situation-
level
last
of growth
question.
of the livelihood of the people
Okay, both-
is
Can I
sliding
come in
down.
here?
My last question is what a political point. Ravi Shankar Prasad, I want to come to you on the political point. Let's talk to politics. Let's talk Turkey. You're the deputy leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha. Mr. Prasad, you can add to this point of, my question. Actually, why don't you give your point on the question I asked Mr. Chako on whether they are being selective in representing facts, and then I have the last bit, which is political. Yes, Mr. Prasad.
You are very rightly said, Arnav. As we said, and we hold it with full sense of responsibility, the UPA government is the most corrupt government since independence. Let me only outline some of the scams which are appearing with alarming regularity. Commonwealth, 70,000 crores, followed by 2G, 1,76,000 crores, followed by Colgate, 1,86,000 crores, then Adarsh scam, housing scam, even the widows, their rights were sought to be manipulated, and thereafter you have the helicopter scam, and thereafter you have to real estate scam because somebody is influential in the family, and then you have the whole scam of Mr. Law Minister trying to influence the CBI report.
No, what is your point?
Colgate goes to the gate of the Prime Minister.
What is your point?
And then there is a rail gate.
Selective on scams also.
My point is, no, please, please wait. My point is very simple, or no? Why is it that under an honest Prime Minister, scam after scam is appearing with alarming regularity?
Okay.
And can Mr. Chako assure in the coming month there will not be one more scam or two more scam? My reply is very simple. This government is cruelly indifferent to probity, integrity, and as far as accountability is concerned. And but for campaign by the opposition inside and outside the parliament, but for aggressive role by the media, you and your channel included, and intervention by the court, no scam would have been probed. And in case of Colgate,
but
in spite of Supreme Court monitoring,
but Mr. Prasad,
were meant to
actually, Mr. Chako, you want to respond? I had a counter to Mr. Prasad, actually, or you want to respond? Why don't you go ahead?
Yes, Arnav, even in the scams also, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is very selective. You asked me why you are selective. From, coffin scam to Karnataka scam, lot of scams he is leaving out, it is inconvenient. He is picking and choosing certain things, but without going into the facts. Scams will not save any party or any country or any political campaign. Ravi Shankar Prasad, please understand, we are a government responsive to the needs of the people.
Please stop this competition between the two of you on scams.
UPA government. This is very unfortunate. You don't want to listen. What to do? Ravi Shankar Prasad, your government in Karnataka was thrown away by the Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, your government in Karnataka was kicked out by the government of Karnataka only the other day on account of scams alone. Are you blaming the Congress government?
And you are going to
what
be
happened to
your
government, your BJP government in Karnataka?
Assembly elections and
Can you,
nation as well.
Have you got the moral courage to criticize anybody else in this country?
The competition between these two on who has done greater scams.
No, there is no competition, only statement of facts.
Okay, no, he's back. He's back. No, we lost the line. We lost the line completely.
Both are claiming.
No. The point is, Mr. Chako.
Both of you.
Sridharamji, you are not in power in many of the states in India, but wherever you were in power, even your party secretaries are also in the dock. Please understand that.
Okay, last question.
Communist parties or left front is not about corruption. Sridharamji,
last question on the Newshour Debate.
Don't try to whitewash your
last question on the Newshour Debate.
Don't mislead.
Last question on the Newshour Debate.
Don't mislead.
Last question on the Newshour Debate. Genuine, 1 minute.
We know the party leaders who are neck deep in corruption. You and me know that.
You
and me know that what is the fate of many of the left party leaders in India.
Mr. Chako, my last question, allow me, please.
The country knows you.
Thank you very much. Well, the bouquets you are throwing at each other, are very interesting for the viewers. But I have one question. My last question is political. This is a fascinating debate. It can go on. My last question is political, and Ravi Shankar Prasad, don't say that I am speaking Mr. Chako's line. Mr. Chako knows I don't speak the Congress line. You know I don't speak the BJP line. My question is simply this. Even if I look at the Congress, see, the Congress party is in a trouble about allies. You have lost Jharkhand Vikas Morcha, MIM, DMK. In your second tenure alone, 6 allies left you. Parties like the Samajwadi Party, which are with you, sometimes support Mr. Advani also. My question here, however, is to Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. You know, at the end of the day, what the Congress party says, Mr. Prasad, you keep criticizing us, but you know the next government will be formed with allies. And from the DMK to the SP, all these political parties have branded you communal, refuse to do business with you. So, Mr. Prasad, my last question on the Newshour is this. And Mr. Sitaram Yechuri is smiling because he knows I'm absolutely right. And for all this fight, Mr. Sitaram Yechury's party will support the Congress after the 2014 elections. My question to Ravi Shankar Prasad is this. The Congress party's loss is not the BJP's gain. Congress party loss is not your gain.
Well, yes. I'm very happy you have raised this question towards the last of this debate. People of the country want an alternative. They have seen the record of governance of NDA and Atal Bihari Vajpayee when inflation was in check, when there was development and there was peace. Yes, we lost the election, but people's satisfaction was there. Today the people are angry, and by this celebration they are rubbing salt. Therefore, as an alternative, people will see BJP-led NDA. Now you talked about communal divide, yes or no?
Which
there
party?
are two political lines in India. Secular communal divide and anti-Congressism and pro-Congressism. And once the BJP
who is with you?
Well, we are bound
who
to
is
do
with
very,
you?
very well.
Who is with you? Except Shiv Sena? No, except who is with you?
We will have a large number of supporters from other political parties. And let me tell you, we will give a very stable government. Third front is history. It has no relevance for the present nor any promise for future.
Okay, Sitaram Yechuri,
There will be two alliances
1 minute
led by Congress and
1 minute
BJP,
left.
and surely BJP will come to power with NDA and lot more other allies.
Sitaram Yechuri, quickly please.
Yes, very quickly. The very fact that this debate itself has demonstrated the mood in the country is for a non-Congress, non-BJP alternative. And it is not any third front or anything. There is an alternative on policy matters. It's a policy alternative. And that is the alternative that is going to come. And there is an year to go for the elections. Everybody seems to be in a hurry. And a year is a long time in Indian politics. What we require is a policy alternative for the country and the people. And that is what is going to come.
Early election, early advertising campaign, everything's happening early. Early report card.
That's right. That's why I reminded you.
I want to know what's happening.
Mr.
Chacko.
2004.
Mr. Chacko, is the Congress party getting nervous, which is why before the 4 state elections you are going to call for election?
The plight of common man.
No, everybody, the buzz.
No, that is not the reason. I will come. I will tell you what is the reason for this celebration. Aruna, this celebration is because tomorrow, 22nd, we complete 9 years of the UPA. First 5 years, Sitaramji was also with us. I wish that Sitaramji is also with us in the next UPA also. But that's a different issue. But we have every reason to celebrate. The report card is not early. Report card is bringing out on the due date when we are celebrating our anniversary. But we are, I can say, Aruna, BJP is a spend force. Whatever is the expectation of Ravi Shankar Prasad. But a third front government is only in the wildest imagination of Sitaramji. But people has got confidence in the Congress. And the Congress will come back again. And
I'm talking of alternative policies.
The only front, the only third front.
Alternative policies.
The only third front on this discussion. The only third front on this discussion are the three gentlemen. Ravi Shankar Prasad, PC Chacko,
there is no
and Sitaram Yechuri.
In India.
Why don't you all come together, form a different kind of a third
Whenever
front?
Congress thought that, they lost the election.
Thank you for joining me on this wonderful debate tonight.
Thought like Mr. Chacko did, they lost the election.
Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Thank you.